This is your Statehouse. Since the summer of 1993, artisans, construction workers, architects, and historians have been working on your Statehouse. They began with the idea of returning an inefficient, crumbling, and in some respects, unsafe building to its original glory. But along the way, something happened. They began to realize that more than a glimpse into the past, they were gaining an understanding that our ancestors, in building a place for the state to conduct its business, were at the same time expressing a political ideal.
The people that built this building built it as you see it today. This is what they created for us. It is this generation of Ohioans' responsibility to be good stewards of that precious gift so that not only ourselves, but our offspring can get a glimpse into the mindset of the people of Ohio that pioneered this state in what they would call the American experiment.
We're looking at an early photograph of the governor's office, approximately as Abraham Lincoln would have seen it when he visited Ohio to address a joint session of the General Assembly. Today, the office of the governor has been returned not only to its original location, but very close to its appearance in 1861. What you see today is much of what Abraham Lincoln saw when he sat across this very desk from Governor William Dennison, Jr. It's easy to imagine Mr. Lincoln in animated discussion with the governor concerning the impending Civil War. It was while sitting in this office that Lincoln was informed that he was President-elect of the United States. This room has received the highest level of restoration of the entire Statehouse. Every possible effort was made by the restoration team to conceal signs of modern technology. Although you can't see them now, the governor has all of today's necessary conveniences. There's a telephone and a computer concealed in the area of the desk. The electric fixtures appear to be gas fixtures. Of course, the original occupants of the Statehouse didn't even have gas, just sunlight and candles. The desk is the original governor's desk used in the building. It was first used by Governor Salmon P. Chase in 1857. It's made of rosewood and walnut. Since it was discovered in the warehouse of the Ohio Historical Society, it has been restored, but the leather top is still the original. It was used by Governor Chase and over which Abraham Lincoln conducted business with Governor Dennison. The small bookcase next to the governor's desk is an original oak piece.
The chandelier is actually a chandelier that was manufactured by the Cornelius and Baker firm in Philadelphia at the time that the Statehouse was constructed. The chandelier is not from the Statehouse, but it was made by the same firm at the same time. And we were fortunate enough to find that chandelier after a 2-year search. And we actually found this one. It was owned by a gentleman that lives about 15 blocks to the east of the Statehouse right here in Columbus.
Original carpet in the office was woven from wool by Axminster. The new carpet, also by Axminster, is made of synthetic fibers to give the strength to last for years. Design of the carpet pattern was reproduced using old photographs of the office. Since there was no color photography in those days, experts chose the colors based on original wall colors uncovered during the restoration and written descriptions of the colors. On the corners of the carpet can be seen a reproduction of the 1861 State Seal. Governor Voinovich moved into his restored office in May and intends to use it a few days a week as a working office. All buildings must be built on strong foundations if they're to last, and the Ohio Statehouse is no exception. It's a masonry building of brick and Columbus limestone from the west banks of the Scioto River. There are no steel supports. The limestone and brick construction sit atop an 18-foot deep foundation. This was a project that needed a lot of labor. If you were a stonemason living in 1849 Columbus, you would have wanted to be very careful to obey the law.
The story is still told in the union halls today that if you were a stonemason back during the 1850s, when the Statehouse was being constructed, that even a minor infraction of the law, spitting on the sidewalks is always used, you would be incarcerated in Spring Street, the penitentiary, the old penitentiary, and detailed to work on the stonework at the Statehouse.
This is the area that today we call the crypt. It was originally used for a service area. Horses that were stabled here brought in wagon loads of coal to fire the boilers that heated the Statehouse.
About the time the Statehouse was officially opened and officially completed in 1861, it was decided that having the boilers in the crypt area might not be a wise idea, because when, not if, but when the boilers blew up, it might damage the entire structure of the rotunda. So subsequent to that, they moved the boilers out to what was then called the East Terrace, or the east side of the building.
Today, the crypt area serves as an expanded education and visitor center. It looks much the way it would have appeared when the building was first opened in 1857.
Well, it's the area beneath the rotunda. You could call it the rotunda basement, I imagine, but it fits all the definitions of the architectural term crypt, and that's why we call it the crypt. Much like the basement of the U.S. Capitol is called the crypt.
Light fixtures are replicas of the gas lamps that were once used here, but even gas lighting was an innovation that had not arrived when the building was first occupied. This white marble and red slate floor is not original. It was salvaged from the Central Ohio Psychiatric Hospital, a building from the same era as the Statehouse, which was demolished a few years ago. Today, the crypt is the home of the cafeteria, a gift shop, and the Statehouse TV studio. In the gift shop is a stained glass state seal rediscovered in a Senate building closet that hung in the rotunda from the 1920s until 1965. One floor above the Education and Visitor Center is the rotunda, one of the most remarkable and beautiful spaces in the Statehouse.
In February of 1861, Abraham Lincoln, after delivering an address to a joint session of the General Assembly in the House chambers, descended the stairs from the House chambers, crossing the rotunda on his way to confer with the governor. He stopped in the rotunda and remarked on its beauty. The original beauty that Lincoln remarked on has been reestablished, and it now looks like it did in February of 1861, and also as it did just a few short years later when Lincoln lay in state in the rotunda.
Lincoln's body lay in state in the rotunda for a day as his casket was transported from Washington, D.C. to Illinois. Although the population of Columbus was only about 31,000 at the time of Lincoln's death, more than 50,000 people passed by his casket. The House and Senate chambers of the Ohio Statehouse are the same size but don't look exactly the same because there are more members in one than in the other. Marble speakers platforms in both chambers are original and were carved on site. Senate desks are reproductions of the originals. However, today they are wired for phones and computers. Most of the woodwork is original. It's pine and poplar, grained to appear to be oak, as was the custom in the 1800s. Skylights, closed for years, have been reopened, returning a luster of natural light to the large rooms. The columns in the rear are white Italian marble and are topped with Corinthian capitals. Today, the Senate chamber appears very much as it must have on the evening in 1857 when the ladies and gentlemen of Ohio danced here during the Grand Jubilee, celebrating the completion and opening of the Statehouse. This week, we, the people of Ohio, are once again celebrating the opening of our Statehouse, which has now been restored to its former glory and prepared for use well into the new century.